Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello, good morning everyone. My name is Nafila Rifia Safinatun Najah with NIM J1E020010. I will give you some explanation about the journal and the title is Conversation Analysis of Turn-Taking Mechanism in Ever After Movie by Siti Aisyah. The conversation is a spoken exchange of feelings, talk, or ideas between two or more people. In order to get a smooth conversation, the participant should not violate each other's turn. Thus, the present study explains about turn-taking mechanism of conversation analysis in Ever After Movie. The aim of this study is to find out what kind of turn-taking mechanism occur in Ever After Movie, function of each mechanism, and how the characters construct the conversation. A turn-taking. Turn-taking is a system that controls the rotation of speaker during discussion. In any discussion, turn-taking is inevitable and apparently recognizable as at any time in discussion, interlocutors switch parts as speakers with each other in a range to exchange data. In accordance with this, turn-taking is considered to be foremost crucial feature of thought in interaction. And thus finding how turn-taking works in the conversation could be a foremost prerequisite for conversational analysis investigation. Turn-taking used in interview television and how it affects the flow of the program. The result show how each turn-taking mechanism gave a different effect toward the program flow. And another example is during a class meeting when the teacher explains the material and the students are listening quietly until they are given a chance to ask by raising their hand first. Therefore, the other student will not be missing any point and the conversation is understood very well. Turn-taking mechanism. Turn-taking is a concept used in conversation analysis to describe how orderly communication is generally conducted. Turn-taking mechanism consists of A. Taking the floor. In order to make the conversation flow, with both speaker and listener must be equally cooperative. By using this strategy, it means the participants are able to take their turn and respond or give comments to the current speaker. B. Starting up. During a conversation, there are two possibilities. The first one is the participants start the conversation with hesitant and the second one is a clean start. A hesitant start happens if the participants are not having a good preparation to talk. So the first response is mostly quite awkward. In contrast, the participant with a clean start will sound confident with their answer because good planning is involved. Example, the king. Bernice, did you or did you not lie to Her Majesty the Queen of France? Bernice, a woman would do practically anything for the love of her daughter, Your Majesties. The context of the example above is how the king invites Bernice to the castle without any explanation. The hesitant answer is the first reaction out of an expected situation. So Bernice is trying to find the right answer by giving a short pause. C. Taking over. Taking over is an act of how the listener taking the floor from the current speaker. D. Interruption. Interruption is actually a violation because the participant just interfere with the current speaker. The participant frequently talks over one another at the same time and do not listen to each other. For example, Prince Henry. There you have it, realize him. surface trader. But sir, Prince Harry, I said, release him. Servant trader, yes sir. E. Overlaps. Overlap means that the participant predict the end of a sentence while interruption did not pay attention to the TRP and just cutting off the sentence. F. Holding the floor. Holding the turn is as someone starts speaking. F. Yielding the floor. Yielding the floor is to give the next speaker a turn. For the example is the king. A servant Henry is this some kind of joke? Prince Henry. Bernice, you are on the dangerous ground. Bernice, assure yourself, she's grasping David's little pretender, and it is my duty to expose her as the covetous hawk she is. The result of the data, it can be concluded that the conversation in ever after movie apply turn-taking mechanisms such as taking the floor, holding the floor, and yielding the floor. Yielding the floor as the most used mechanism in the conversation occurs if the listener asks to take the turn immediately after given the signal. This turn-taking mechanism mostly happens because the conversation is usually contains more than 2 participants. This shows how the participant yields a turn to each other. The purpose of this research is to find out how the characters in the film ever after do turn-taking in a conversation. Based on the previous analysis and discussion, it can be concluded that the most dominant turn-taking mechanism. Okay, that's all for my explanation. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.